Hey you guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to another session of the series that we started, Battered. And y'all, this series, I personally have learned a lot. And I feel like I'm growing. It's prepping me for another stage in my life. Today we are continuing the conversation that we started, and like I said from the beginning, it's a long conversation and it's battered, and we're referring to intimate partner abuse when we're talking battered. Today, yeah, we've been talking about this person who's doing the abusing, but how do we identify this person? Is there a specific trait? Is there something that we should look for? Today, we are talking about the profile of the abuser. Welcome back to Angie and welcome back to Kiana. Alrighty, you guys. So let's just get right into it. Is there something that we should look for? Is there a profile for the abuser? And this sounds like so extreme, like FBI kind of thing. Is there a profile for this abuser?
Certainly, there is a profile for the abuser, and it is so subtle, and sometimes we think it's okay, but it's indeed a red flag. For example, it's not in the appearance as in feature because it is just not shown on the face. It is a characteristic that you have to look for, an attitude, a behavior, that which is different from the norm. Saying the norm, which means a loving individual, one that gives you free will, one that allows you to make your decisions, that is normal. But when you have someone who is very protective of you, they treat you like an ornament, they are very possessive, they want to know wherever you go, whatever you do. So therefore, a curfew is put in place for you. Yes, you are not a child, but a curfew is put in place for you. What time you should return home, and if they give you 5 o'clock and it's broad daylight, then you've got to be home for 5. Okay, then you have another sign where they get angry easily for little petty things that it's so trivial, and then you wonder, but why? What contributed to this? And a big explosion of behavior happens, and you're like, what? What is going on? And it is just so unbecoming. And these are, I just give you two, I let my colleague continue, what to look for. And when you see very angry people for no reason, a curfew is given, then you have to know that you are going, these are red flags and that you have to avoid them. Over to you, Kiana.
Yes, just to add to what you were saying, there is something that a lot of times in relationships, um, persons might not think it's that much of an issue, but the abuser is very jealous, extremely jealous, um, towards even your female friends, your family members, or your children. The abuser will question who you talk to. They'll probably accuse you of flirting with others, even family members. So they might accuse you of flirting with your family members, and it might go to an extreme where they will even prevent you from working, or fearful of you leaving the house that you might meet somebody else. And sometimes, like my colleague says, we might think, oh, my partner is just being protective of me, but there's nothing wrong with a protective partner. However, when you're being checked on and you have to report where you go, what time you leaving, what time you're coming back, who you met on the way, why did you normally get home at 6:30, why are you reaching home at 6:45, and you have to give an explanation as to why you're getting home at 6:45, or I called you, you didn't pick up. Now, we don't want to scare anybody, and we want to differentiate what's normal and healthy as compared to what is unhealthy. In a relationship, there is nothing wrong with having a very good communicate having very good communication with your partner, like calling to say I am running late, or I'm there at I just got to town or I just got home. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
However, if your partner demands of you to tell him or her where where you were, why you, like I said earlier, why did you get here at 6:45 when you're usually here at 6 o'clock, or I called you, you did not pick up, why didn't you pick up, and then you see 50 missed calls on your phone, you see 65 text messages. That is not normal. That right here is a red flag. This indicates that there is something seriously wrong with that individual. There are also other signs, because we always stress on the fact that the whole idea of abuse happening is because of control. So if that person is even going through your phone, you know, or if you have a vehicle, they might check on how much gas you have used. All of those things are things that happen. They also, the abuser also has unrealistic expectations for their partner, and they want you to be perfect. And what happens is, the victim is now walking on eggshells. You have to wonder if the partner is in a bad mood today. How should I act if he or she is in a bad mood? Should I say this, should I not say that? You know, you're walking on eggshells because you're unsure of what personality you will get today. There's also blaming others for every single problem. There's no accountability. There is, or you made me do this. If you love me, you'll stop making me hurt you. Or if you love me, you will listen to what I tell you to do. All of those things are signs that you are in an abusive relationship.
And you know, the bottom line to all of this is insecurity. That person is insecure. So, like the word say, as a man thinketh, so is he. So, whatever they think that they are doing, that you are doing it as well, and that's not the case. So, it's just insecurity.
Well, Angie, you just took the word right under my tongue. I was about, I was about to say, well, is this all rooted in insecurity? And then before I could even state the question, boom. Well, thank you for that, Angie.
Yes, yes.
I feel like we're moving in sync here. But this is such a serious discussion. This is a conversation that needs to be had. Um, when I think about all the things that you've said, I think it's so important that somebody could really differentiate between the person who cares and the person who is just being an abuser, who's showing off the red flags. And I don't know if there is more that could be said to help somebody differentiate, because I'm thinking of the single person who's going into this relationship and a guy is coming with good intentions and he's like, oh, you're not usually back so late. Why are you so late today? And then I'm like, I'm running for the hills. Dude, we're not having this conversation. What do you say? How do we differentiate from that?
Once pressure is not laid on you and the person doesn't force it, then you're okay. Is when it is forced, and it makes you feel uncomfortable even after you have spoken to your partner about it, then it becomes a red flag. But it's nice to know that you come from work or in your way home and you call your partner and say, honey, I'm on my way home. Or they call you and say, have you arrived? They check in to see if you are safe. Nothing is sweeter than that for somebody to check on you. But when it comes with a force, then you have a problem.
So I'm sorry, I'm Kiana. I'm just saying, I'm shocked. YouTube, the viewers who want to know what are we laughing at? It's like all of us are laughing. It's an inside joke, so I'm sorry we cannot share it. But this is why we're so joyful about this particular.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Kiana.
Yes, I wanted to add to what she was saying. Once the abuser questions every single thing that you do, that is an issue. Because again, there's nothing wrong with I mean, there are so many different things that can happen. For example, you coming home from work, you might meet a friend, you might stop and have a little chat, and you might exceed the time that you normally get home. That day, you probably didn't charge your phone enough, and your battery is low, and you didn't get a call. These are normal things, you know. In a healthy relationship, yes, your partner will worry if there are some there's a shift in the normalcy, because I guess every relationship has normalcy in it, normal things that you do with your partner, maybe a specific time you'll speak, or whatever the case may be. If well, as believers, we know when we before we're married, we don't live together. But to somebody who's probably in a different situation, who's probably not a believer, whatever your routine is in your relationship, there are cases where things might be different. However, if your partner gets upset that you did not answer their call on time, or you didn't tell them that, I mean, you don't have to tell your partner every single step or every move that you make. But if it is forced, if it's like, why didn't you tell me, and they're upset and they have an attitude because you probably didn't say, hey, I met so and I spoke to them and I exceeded the time that I normally get home, then there's a serious problem with that individual. And sometimes in relationships, we mistake the partner caring about us to those little things, those little areas of control and jealousy in the relationship. Sometimes I have heard people say, if my partner is not clingy to me, I don't want that kind of person. But also, with that, you have to be very careful how much of yourself you give to a clingy partner, because in that, there can be um some forms of abuse happening there with a clingy partner. So we have to be very mindful of the kind of individual that we're placing our life into their hands, in a sense, because again, your partner is supposed to be your safe space, your best friend, you know, somebody that you can laugh with and stuff. But if you have to be careful with every single word that you say, maybe I shouldn't say that because that might offend my partner, then something is wrong.
I love this discussion. Honestly, I love it. Let's talk about. Let's give some advice, right? Now, you both have stated some of the signs, really, and also the different things to look out for, um, or things that will be apparent if you're with a abuser. But say you're just meeting somebody, like you just meet the person approach you and whatever, you're probably going out on your first or second date, right? So this is all very new. Is there anything you could pick up at this point?
Sometimes it's too early to tell. I mean, if you're just in a relationship for a week, a month, you just getting to know each other. So it may not be, because you can also misjudge, and that's one thing we don't want to do. We need to give people the benefit of a doubt, and you're getting to know the person you're dating. And I always advise group dating, so you can see different behaviors, and sometimes the person you started dating, that's not who you're attracted to. You see somebody else with a better quality, and then you just gravitate to that individual. So I always advise group dating. But if no group dating and then you are serious about the relationship and you continue 6 months into the relationship, by then you should be able to see signs if you should stay or run. Although there are some people that can pretend very well, they have their masters in pretending. And when you see you real serious and they feel, yes, my partner is settled now, so let me come out and give my exam, and they will lay themselves at the table. And sometimes it is too late because you already find yourself so attached. And you see that thing called emotional attachment, my goodness. That in itself, we need to be very careful with that, because when you see you're attached to somebody emotionally, it is so hard. You miss that person, You know, you want to see that person, you want to hear them 24/7. And then when you get attached with that wrong person, then it is very hard for you to get out of the unhealthy relationship.
We're not saying that you will meet your partner, your significant other, and instantly know that this person is abusive. This is not what we're saying at all. You will not always know. I believe after about 3 to 6 months, you should know what the character of your partner is. You should have a pretty good idea what the person's character is. You will not you will not ever really know every single thing about the person, but within that time you will see different things that might not feel like, you know, I feel like as young people or just people in general, we should have an idea as to the kind of partner that we want. And when you're dating, if you know the kind of partner that you want now, there are some ladies who have a whole list. There's nothing wrong with a list, but let's be realistic with our list. Now, there's nothing wrong with it there, but I'm just saying, um, be intentional when you're dating, especially as believers. We are all believers on this forum right now. Be very intentional with what we want in a partner. And when we see things that do not feel comfortable to us, cut it off. I do not have time. I don't waste time. If I see or feel like this person is making me uncomfortable, that is it. However, everyone is different. But again, we're not saying that 1 month in you will see signs. We're not saying that 2 months in you will see signs. And like my colleague said, some people are very good at pretending. Sometimes the abuser might come, or the partner, I should say, will come to you and it will feel like a fairy tale. Oh my God, where did this person come from? You must be sent from heaven. And they have all the right words. And you're like,
Oh my
oh my
God.
God, oh my God, this person knows everything. Like they're saying everything I need to hear. Red flag. Red flag. There's no perfect person in this world. Not one perfect person in this world. So these are some things that we need to be mindful of.
And with you saying that, that is so interesting. Another red flag is like you love that person so much, you into that person so much that you say that you see the negativity, but you have that hope, that expectation. Yes, my partner will change. Yes, I know that that's just the beginning. We have to get to know each other. We have to feel each other. My partner will change. Sometimes the change is not positive. Change is good, but when the change is negative, where you now feel like you're walking on eggshells, no. And I always say anybody that is in an unhealthy relationship, especially where intimate partner violence is concerned, I personally tell you to put on your running shoes and run, because it doesn't get better until there is proper intervention for the couple, and they must first be willing to change, and then you will get a healthy relationship.
And to add to what you're saying, don't think that bringing a child into the situation or getting a ring is going to make it better. It
Woo!
will not make it better. I would even advise that you try your best to not even have a child for your abuser. Do not go down that road because it makes it more difficult. And a lot of times, people stay in relationships because of the child.
Don't jump the gun. We're staying on the profile.
I just got so passionate about that right
Yes, I
now.
know how that feels, but we're
But
staying on the profile.
yes, please, please, if you're listening, again, you cannot change that individual. You cannot. Let us stop saying my partner will change, things will get better. It can get better when help is found for both individuals, not just the abuser, but the victim as well. You see, a lot of times, a lot of help is given to the victim, but the abuser is left out. The abuser is a human being too. The abuser is going through things too that the victim doesn't understand. So, help is needed for both individuals.
Why, thank you all so much. Every time I'm about to ask a question, you're like, oh, boop, and then you'll answer it. I'm like, okay, and then I don't need to ask the question anymore. This has been very good, y'all. Well, this has been really informative, and it's interesting that some of these things they sound like, oh, everyone should know this, but going into a relationship, you go into a relationship sometimes so starry-eyed, and I'm one of those people who say, I don't know if I'm a pessimist for this, but I always say, if it's too good to be true, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So then I like the realistic view that, hey, there are faults, there are, I mean, not faults to the extent that, okay, well, he give me a slap, not that kind of faults. That's not what we're talking about here. But there are the person has their own character, just like I have character faults, then this person has theirs. But then, it's interesting that you brought that up, Kian, the too good to be true part. But then, apart from all of that, a lot of information has been shared today. Insecurity. That means people need to learn to deal with themselves before they, and that's something that keeps coming up in these episodes. People need to learn to deal with themselves before they enter into a relationship. Deal with your insecurities, deal with your issues, get healing, heal yourself before you enter into a relationship, and that is just so very vital. So we're not just
Yeah,
speaking
because
about today, we're speaking also to people that are looking to enter into relationships or victims as well. Get healing. Yes,
yeah,
Angie?
because you find sometimes you carry a lot of baggage, and that baggage is overweight, and you need to let it go before you enter a relationship. Because when you enter with it, it's not just you in the relationship anymore. It's two of you, and sometimes there are children involved, and that in itself could just suck you up if you're not prepared. And what will happen? You will lash out because you do not know how to deal with yourself, far less to deal with a family. Okay?
Yes, and I wanted to add something to what
Go ahead, Kiana.
you're saying. It brought something to me. Sometimes you hear persons saying, "For me to get over that person, I need to be with somebody else." That is the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to relationships. Heal, heal, heal. If you need to take 2 years to heal, take 2 years to heal. If it's going to take you 4 years to heal, take 4 years to heal. Because, like my colleague said earlier, you're leaving one relationship, and we have to remember that when you're in a relationship, you're giving some part of yourself to an individual. So you've given some part of yourself to one individual. It didn't work out. You're leaving that relationship with pain, with whatever else that caused that relationship to end, and you're going into something new with everything from that relationship. And this person might be trying to heal too, or probably has not healed too, and then they're coming with their baggage too,
Mm-hmm.
and the two collide, and it's just a nasty accident.
Yeah, that's overweight.
Yes. So heal, heal, heal. I promise you, you'll be, and again, I like to say that don't rush it. Don't rush it, young people. Don't rush it. Take your time. Man not going anywhere. Woman not going anywhere. Stay there. Do not rush it. Take your time.
Well, at this point, what I could say, can the church say amen? We are at the point where the church could literally just say amen because Kiana has really summarized it. Man not going anywhere, woman not going anywhere. Take your time. Listen, y'all. And this is good. This is really good advice because in your rush to get into a relationship, you might settle, and what you'll be settling for could be a death sentence. So be So just leaving that out there. This conversation will continue next week. So we're gonna put a pause here. Let me say thank you to all the viewers. Thank you to again to Angela, Angie, and Kiana for sharing this information with us. Of course, if you have not joined this family, go ahead, like, subscribe. Most importantly, share the link. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That we are here and we are sharing great information with you guys. Alrighty, once again, thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.